bands, and I really appreciate that. It's good to have somebody that still likes that type of music, you know, just good 80s hard rock.
Dude, I'll be fans till the day I die. To tell you the truth.
It gives me hope. It just gives me hope.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, man. We've been listening for 30-some years. We listen all the time. We followed pretty much every band, and we still listen to it today. So it's still big in our lives. So we do our best to keep the word out there, and anything that the bands are doing that you guys do, we're all for it. We'll push it as much as we can.
Right.
I wish there was something exciting that you could push.
Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Yeah, just...
You know what? Sometimes it's just cool to talk about the music as well. But I'll shut up and let you guys start off how you start off and do what you got to do, and just give me when I'm ready to start interviewing, whatever. Or are we already interviewing?
No, we just...
We're going to be talking to you, so we're...
Yeah, we just start right away, and whatever the intro is, we'll clean it up and get it started the right way.
Oh, okay. However you want to do it. If you want to go official, we begin in 3, 2, 1, go.
There we go. Well, Benny, first thing that we both want to say is, it really is an honor to speak to you. We've been fans since since we heard the Under the Influence album in 1992. And what was cool was I remember hearing "Hang On Lucy" on the radio stations in Pittsburgh, which are about as unmetal as you could possibly get. And hearing that song on there was awesome, man.
I remember Pittsburgh. Well, no, I don't remember Pittsburgh. I remember Harrisburg.
Okay.
We played Harrisburg a couple of times, and I always hated it. I was like, this town is so dead. Maybe we played Pittsburgh. My memory sucks. I'm old now. I'm 52. So remembering some stuff I can remember great from back in the day. Others, it's the Swiss cheese holes in my brain. I can't remember other things. But it just depends on if the neurons in my mind are firing at the time. But I kind of remember some stuff in
right.
Pennsylvania. I thought that was like a good rock town, though. I thought there was a lot of good metalheads there.
We do. We have them. They're all there. It's a united crowd, but they just don't promote it. I think it's all on the promoters' end of it. They don't really push the music like they should, and they really should. They should really start pushing it.
Right.
Yeah, back in the day, back then in '92. We're all. First of all, who am I talking to? I got Brian, and then I got someone else there too.
Yeah, my name's John. I'm the owner of the company.
We got John and we got Brian.
That's
okay,
it.
Hi guys.
That's it.
It's my pleasure to speak to you guys, by the way. All mine, believe me. Well, I was saying back in the day, it was the tail end of good heavy metal or hard rock or hair metal, whatever you want to call it, whatever label you are comfortable with.
Right.
And it was dwindling. It was going away fast, and man, that was a tumultuous time in '92, '93 for bands like Warrant and Wildside and Firehouse and Trickster and those type of bands. It was tough in the streets, so to speak, at that time. We were all confused, going, man, what do we do? Do we put on flannels and adhere, put on our thrift store sweaters and keep it going, or what do we do?
That's it. It was like right at that time, when you guys came up, and that album really, if it would have came out 5 years before, it's just massive.
People say 2 years. I say 5 years. I agree. 1987, and that's where the whole problem with all that lies. It just I blame our parents. Officially, I blame our parents. We weren't born early enough. We were 5 years too freaking late. And I figured this out like 10 years after it was over. I figured, God, why didn't this work? Because we weren't old enough. Bret Michaels and Ricky Rocket were in L.A. when I was still going to prom at high school. They were already there on the Strip doing it in '83.
Right.
So, we got to L.A. right when Poison got signed and started to roll out Look What the Cat Dragged In. So we were just a little too late. Even though we got there Drew Hanna and I, we started the band, even though from Seattle we got to LA right in '86. Perfect timing, right in the thick of the strip. It was awesome.
Right.
God dang it, we needed to be there in '82. That's when we needed to get there.
It's tough. I mean, you're looking back at that and just trying to guess, but I mean, still, even coming out, with that album in '92, who would have thought that would have happened that way?
I sure wouldn't. I mean, I couldn't have called any of it. I mean, we all thought, I know, Drew and I had always dreamed of, becoming rock stars, and, you get a record deal and you're instantly rich and you're instantly famous, right?
Right.
No. Wrong.
That's
We got there in '86. Drew and I, we had in another band with a bunch of high school buddies from Seattle. That lasted about a year and a half, 2 years. It all fell apart. It was just Drew and I wondering, scratching our heads, going, boy, what do we do now? We got a hold of Brent Woods, our good buddy, one of the first guitar players I ever met in Los Angeles when I got there. And he was in about 6 bands at the time, and we had to keep twisting his arm, asking, please, join us. Let's do a band together. Finally, he got it together and figured out that, well, maybe it's going to work with Benny and Drew. So he came aboard. We had a couple of bass players, a couple of drummers, but we got some songs. It only took us only 2 years as Young Guns, is what we called ourselves, in Hollywood.
Right.
And we got a record deal. We got lucky with Capitol Records, and somehow they said yes and thought we were wonderful, and that was that. And then it took another 2 years for the record to get done and come out. Too long to get the record out. By that time, all of a sudden, it's 1992, and things are changing rapidly.
Right.
But it was a miracle that we even got that far. I mean, we were supposed to be dropped. The album was supposed to be shelved. I mean, there were so many hurdles that happened.
Yeah, I remember reading some of the little snippets that you put out there on the Wildside page, and some of the things that you guys went through. I mean, it was amazing. Crazy
It really stories was. That you can't make that shit up. You just can't.
Right. You guys, you recorded that album in Eddie Van Halen's studio. I thought that was really cool. In 5150 Studios.
That was insanely cool, and that was worth the price of admission of everything that happened to the band and everything that happened to me personally, with being a drug addict and, overdosing and dying and all sorts of crazy things. All of that, I'd do it again in a heartbeat to relive that whole 5150, hanging out with Ed up at the house at 5150 for 6 months. It just doesn't get any better than that. All my childhood dreams came true at that point.
Right.
I mean, it was worth the price of admission. We had the same producer. We had Andy Johns, and he was working with the Sammy era Van Halen, the Van Hagar, and they were doing that For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge record. They were just finishing up, and Andy loved working at Ed's house up in Coldwater Canyon because it was right around the corner from where Andy lived. And Andy Johns he's an Englishman. And he loves to drink. He loves to have a pint and a frosty beverage, as he used to say. And he came up with an idea that, if we record at Ed's house, I don't have to drive that far at night to get home, because he'd be blotto drunk driving his 1975 Cadillac home. So we went to Ed's house, which was great. It was fine with us, but we had a great time there, and we had to record in secret. We couldn't tell anybody. It was a big deal. And we had to list it on the record as House of Pain. We used one of the song titles from 1984. We couldn't say, but now, of course, we don't care.
Right. Now, what kind of when you guys went into to record the album, back then? I mean, you guys were young. You got the record deal. What were you looking at as far as recording, as far as the writing, and what were you guys looking to get out of the album, and what kind of style, as far as say song structure, or what were you looking to get out of it? What was your game plan?
We were looking to get as much poontang as possible. That was one of the most important things at that time.
Right.
Is to get as much very young, beautiful, that kind of thing. But Here's what happened. We were big, all of us are big music fans. Brent was a big Randy Rhoads fan and Kiss fan, and Drew and I were big Van Halen fans. Eddie was my god from day one. I heard The Call in '78 when I was just a teenager.
Right.
And we all just kind of, once we got together, we stopped really listening to anything, and we just started writing our songs, and we just wanted to write what we kind of ripped off David Lee Roth's moniker, which was big rock. We wanted to write big rock.
Right.
Stuff that was anthem. I mean, we saw ourselves opening for Van Halen. We saw ourselves playing arenas. We wanted to write songs that were, arena anthems, and that's what we got. We set out to do it, and we wrote some pretty cool songs. Drew, Brent, and I wrote the tunes, and I think we did a pretty good job with it. We wrote with some really cool people. Paul Stanley from Kiss contributed a song, The Clock Strikes,
right,
or Clock Strikes 12, whatever you want to call it, and we had that's one of the writers. Yeah, if you listen to that song, think of Paul Stanley singing that song could easily have been on Hot in the Shade, 1989.
I don't know. I think I like it better the way you guys. I don't know. I mean, nothing against Paul, but yeah, I like it the way it's more raw and just heavier the way you guys would have done it and the way you did it.
Yeah, it has the big gang vocals and, the big loud, the clock strikes, all that kind of thing. And it's like everybody can put their fist in the air and do it, and
right.
I think when we played on tour of 92 to 94, there'd be a big, long, drawn-out breakdown and come on, everybody, hands in the air, that kind of, let's see the lighters. This before cell phones.
Right,
put
right.
the lighters in the air, Now it's put the phone up, put your iPhone in the air, huh? It's funny.
It's crazy, I know. It's crazy. And after you did after you got the recording done and you guys were ready to go, was it the label that held back as far as the release date? Like you said, it was about 2 years or?
Yeah, let's see. We had a couple of stumbling blocks. We took too long to record the record because we went to a couple of studios. We did all the basic tracks. Top dollar, went to A&M Studios in Hollywood. We recorded all the basic tracks in Studio A, which is an incredible multi-million-dollar room. It's where they recorded We Are the World, and every famous person is there.
Right.
We were sharing that room with Metallica while they were recording Black Album, maybe? But they were in and out, we were in and out, and that's when we kind of made the switch to let's go to 5150. So there was more delays. Then when we got to 5150, nobody was watching us, and we could do anything we wanted. We weren't on the clock.
Right.
There was a lot of partying going on. There was a lot of, runaway strippers from Ohio coming and going. There was a lot of crazy stuff going on over there.
Right.
A lot of partaking in fun stuff. So we took our sweet time up there and had a good time at it, but then we were finished toward the end of 1991, and then we took it to Canada to have Bruce Fairbrain master it, and Canadian Customs snagged us at the border and said, no, give us your tapes. You're working here. We need visas. What? We don't have visas.
Right.
We don't have paperwork. Oh, no. So they confiscated $600,000 worth of 2-inch tape.
Oh, man.
So then our lawyers had to go back and forth. And meanwhile, just the cash is hemorrhaging from our accounts at the Capitol. We're going farther and farther in debt. It was funny. Anyways, we got the tapes back finally. Didn't get a release till May of '92. Man, we needed to be a year sooner. Van Halen wanted us to open, and we couldn't get our record out in time. So they said, sorry, you got to have product if you want to go on the road with us. So they took out some unknown band that nobody ever heard of before called Alice in Chains.
Right.
And you saw what happened with that.
Exactly.
We had the tour for about 4 seconds, and Eddie said, well, dude, you need to have something on that you can sell. We need to put a couple of butts in seats that you guys are going to provide. Missed it.
You know what? You just brought up that Alice in Chains, and I remember seeing that show here in Pittsburgh. And for all that...
Did you see it with Alice in Chains? How did they go over? I didn't see that tour at all, but how did Alice in Chains go over opening for a 1991 Van Halen? How did that go?
I was just going to bring that up to you, Benny. Alice in Chains was terrible the entire concert.
And no,
I mean,
really?
they really were. They were. It sounded like. I couldn't even explain how it sounded. It sounded muffled. It sounded dirty, sloppy, very, very unprofessional. I didn't like them at all.
Well, you know how opening bands, they always get very limited PA, very limited lights, and then when the headliner comes out, kablam, full PA, sparkling, clean, EQ adjusted, all the lights, and they sound a million times better. But
Right.
Ed liked Jerry, and they were buddies, and I was pretty sure that they got a fairly good fair shake from the guys in Van Halen. But, that's too bad. I mean,
Yep.
Jerry's a nice guy. Jerry Cantrell, met him a couple of times
Right.
up here in Seattle and down in L.A., and I'm a fan of his, and he's a fan of Ed, so, I mean,
Right.
everybody's good in this camp.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't want to badmouth anybody, and it's just it could have just been the sound, but it was just I don't know. I just think it was like you just said, it wasn't a fit at that time. It didn't
work,
right.
What the crowd
right.
What the crowd do? Did the crowd like it?
Actually, the crowd was it was at Star Lake out here, which is a big amphitheater. And the crowd was kind of like just mulling around like on the outsides and everything while they were playing, so they didn't even have the full crowd behind them.
Oh, they just everybody's like, okay, what time does Van Halen go on? We'll be back from the beer garden when Van Halen is setting up.
That was about it.
Got it.
That was really about
Got it. I've done that before. I've done the same thing.
Right. So you never know. I mean, and I thought those guys were definitely one of the better bands that came out of that genre.
Yeah.
I really do.
I always liked Alice in Chains. I mean, everything else, don't hate me because I don't like grunge. I hold grunge responsible for the death of my rock stardom career. But I always liked Alice in Chains. The other guys, wasn't a fan. It didn't work for me with Pearl Jam. Didn't understand it.
Right.
Nirvana completely did not understand it. Didn't get it. Was
Right.
almost offended by it. Almost offended.
Right. And it's just, I don't even. It's hard for me to fathom that. I think about the talent that was, coming out of the '80s and '90s. Like you guys. I mean, you guys were. And then the band itself was so solid and I mean, just great songs. Everything was tight. It was professional. It was when I threw that.
We were on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders, had everything aligned.
Right.
How could it fail?
And
Right?
the album.
As far as the debut record, buddy, this is wow. You don't get much better than that.
No, you really don't.
And we still failed with everything perfect. Freaking record business, man. It's never a deal until it's a deal. It's a crapshoot. I mean, we 20 million times all of us would sit around and go, guys, we got this. We got a $2 million 7-album deal with Capitol Records. We got this. Guys, we got Andy Johns producing our record and Thompson Barbiero mixing it. We got this.
Right.
We're at Eddie's house. We're hanging with Ed Van Halen. We got this. We've got Paul Stanley songs. We've got Jim Ballett's songs.
Right.
We got this. How can we fail? Wah, wah, wah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Here comes Kurt Cobain. Hasn't showered in a week. Is high on heroin, playing guitar upside down, and can barely play. But for some reason, he wrote some pretty cool ideas, and people resonated. It resonated with people. They loved it, and he sold millions. So, God, man, who knows?
Right. And I think what everything that it was just one of those things that it just hit at exactly the right time. I mean, it's something that you really can't explain. I'm with you on that, man. I'm totally with you on that.
Oh, for years I thought that it was such a failure. I mean, after the band really ended, imploded in 1994.
Right.
Didn't take long to implode, but for years after that, I thought, God, man, what a failure. What a waste of time. Just, oh my God. I was so almost shameful of the whole experience. But it wasn't until the advent of the internet came around, and I basically kind of became the band historian. We all went our separate ways. None of us talked to each other again. I haven't talked to Brent Woods since 1993 when he quit the band. He gave it 1 year after the album came out, and then he quit. And he took off with Vince Neil. Good for him. That's great. And he hasn't stopped ever since. He plays for Sebastian Bach now, and he's a superstar on guitar. Good for Brent. But, I mean, all of us went different ways. Drew took off and made his own Wildside, and they went grunge. And it didn't work. Everybody went, boo, we don't like this. But it took me 5-7 years before I started talking to fans around the world on the internet. I've been doing this for 20 years, talking to people around the world. And, you know, I'm sure you've seen the Wildside News Facebook page. We got, 10,000 people. And these are fans that still love Wildside, still listen to it, and they love it like it's brand new. They get their kids are coming up listening to it. It's amazing to me.
Right.
So it took me some time, but you know what? That whole thing was not a failure. I mean, it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, something very few people ever get to go through, and we went all the way with it, as far as you can go without becoming multimillionaires. You know, I mean, I wouldn't give up that experience for anything. It's what I wanted to do since I was a kid. All of us wanted to do since we were kids, in the band.
Right.
And we made it. Had a great time doing it. And now I talk to all sorts of people all the time that just love the album, and I'm so appreciative that people say, my first prom dance was just another night, and my wife and I recently got married, and we did our first wedding dance to just another night. It just blows my mind. Like, what? Awesome.
Right.
It's so weird that people, we wrote these songs when we were kids, barely able to buy beers.
Right.
And now you got guys that are coming around saying, I just got under the influence on eBay. I paid $50 for it, but man, I love it.
Right.
Better late than never.
Right. And it's I mean, really, like the basis of our whole conversation here is to celebrate that, 25 years of the release of that album, and looking back and thinking that everything that album, has done. I mean, it might not have been where it should have been, but as it grows now, it belongs, to that generation, and it belongs to the fans, that still love it, still appreciate it, and to me, honestly, it's really one of the best releases that came out of that era, hands down. Hands down.
Wow, that's pretty big of you to say, because there was a lot of really killer releases that happened then. I'm glad that you're putting us in that, on that level, and that's to me that counts for everything. But I got to agree with you. I mean, 5-10 years ago, I might have, I don't know, but now I said, dang, that record, it still smokes. I can still put it on, listen to Hang On Lucy, Hair of the Dog, whatever, and go, what? I'll pick up my guitar and play along with it in the office and go, absolutely, this smokes. We're killing it.
Right. And I think about Latin Sin too, man. That's a great song. That's been one of my favorites for a long time.
So funny. Latin Sin didn't exist. We finished the record, all done. It's time to master it.
Right. And
Brent Woods said, dude, we need a heavy tune. Because, we're pretty much kind of a Skid Row, kind of Guns N' Roses. We were some weird hybrid. We weren't like a Poison. There wasn't any eyeliner or guy liner on any of us.
Right.
There was no hairspray. We didn't do that. I mean, Drew and I did that in the mid-'80s when we first got to L.A.
Right.
We dressed weird like C.C. DeVille and blah, blah. But you know what? When we got to the Young Guns and the Wildside side of things, we went back to the denim, the leather. We had the long hair to our butts, but there was no makeup going on. We weren't glam. I just called us just a hard rock band. That's what we were thinking of. We thought of ourselves as kind of like, throwback. Even back then, 1989, we were thinking, let's go back to 1980 when it was dirty, it was sweaty, and it was just hard rock, loud guitars, amp stacks to the freaking ceiling, 4 high and 6 wide. Let's go back to that, and that's kind of what we started to do. But with Latin Sin, Brent said, hey, we need something heavy.
Right.
And we said, well, what do we do? The record's done. Well, what do you mean? Let's write something. Oh, okay. So we started to write. And the song, Brent had some interesting riffs, and Drew and I started writing some lyrics and melodies for it, all about a serial killer. And we kind of used that movie Silence of the Lambs. Remember that one with Anthony Hopkins?
Right, oh yeah.
And Cape Fear with Robert De Niro. These crazy serial killer guys. That was our inspiration, and we kind of went with that and made up this pretty hard rockin' tune. And we recorded it at, I don't know, in the middle of the night when Bruce Springsteen wasn't using the studio, but yet he'd pay for it.
Right.
So we'd go in there midnight till 5 in the morning, like 5 or 6 times, and get it done. And we produced it on our own, and we mixed it on our own, and, sorry, but it shows. It's kind of demo sounding. It doesn't sound like the rest of the record. But you know what? It still came out okay, and I think it would have been great had we done it with Andy and had Steve Thompson and Mike Barbiero do it. If they would have mixed it, it would have been incredible. But it still was cool. I mean, and you know what? It's a fan favorite. People are like, Latin Sin is my favorite.
Right.
And I say, really? Latin Sin is your favorite? Okay, all right.
When you look at the track list too, I mean, it's hard to to say. One day you have one as a favorite, and then the next day you have another one as a favorite. It's that good. I mean, 12 songs, all good. I mean, the ballads, like "Kiss This Love Goodbye." I mean, you could have put that in any year.
That's one of my favorites. Brent and I wrote that one. He had some ideas for it, and Drew came to me and said, "Dude, I'm all balladed out. I got nothing. You got anything?" And he gave me the song, and then I drove around with it. I was breaking up with a girlfriend at the time, and while I was moving my crap out of the apartment that I lived in with her, I wrote that song in about 10 minutes. And I said, "Guys, I got it."
Right.
And they said, "Oh, all right, this rocks. This is great." And then we went to the record company, and they said, "Hey, it's good, but it needs a little something extra." So I wrote a little musical part after the guitar solo that kind of tied it all together. But some people really love "Kiss This Love Goodbye." I love that one just because I'm privy to it. That was kind of my life. A snapshot of my another one of my failed young lady relationships in Los Angeles.
And that's what the heart of a lot of good songs is. Most good songs, it ties back into a feeling or something that you remember from the past, and it brings it back. It lasts a lifetime, which is great.
Totally. The whole album is based on personal stuff. I mean, Drew had moved into a funny little Hollywood apartment with Brent, and they lived in a really seedy part of Hollywood, right, overlooking like hookers and drug dealers, and it was right on Wilcox and Yucca, which is like a horrible corner in deep Hollywood. And they would look out their balcony all night long and see these crack whores going back and forth, and that's kind of where they started writing "Hang On Lucy" from. And the lyrics and melodies for "Hang On Lucy," it was all about a hooker who gets in trouble and goes to jail, and if you watch the video, it's kind of like the same thing. But they're all personal experiences, all of them.
And when the album was coming out and was ready to hit, what did you guys? Who had to say so in like the first single? Because "Hang On Lucy" was the first one that came out as a single that we remember. Is that correct?
"Hang On Lucy" was the first song to metal radio. Yes, they called it AOR radio. And to me, I never thought "Hang On Lucy" was going to be a single because it had the word "fuck" in it.
Right.
Why would we release our first single with the word "fuck" in it? Walmart's not going to sell that.
Right. But it was it was an aggressive song. It was tough. It made a statement. And it was just like a wall of sound that hits you when that just kicks in, with the sirens, and I think it's a badass tune. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Totally killer, and the record company saw it the same way. They said, "This is the in-your-face. We're here. We're the new guys." Because at Capitol Records, we were signed by the president of the label, and that's the reason we went with Capitol Records, because the president was signing us.
Right.
How can we lose, right? We got this, guys, right?
That's it.
Well, he says, guys, let's go with Hang On Lucy, but let's have you come in and we'll redub the F word. Okay. So Drew went in and he, instead of saying $25 a fuck tonight, which is a Queensryche ripoff, by the way, from 1988. But anyways, it's still an inside secret right there.
There you go.
He said he went in and they redid a word. So he said $25, she'll do you right.
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 So they changed it a little bit and had a radio edit. So we did have a radio edit if somebody wanted to use it.
Right.
So that was interesting. But yeah, it was that, and then we had Hair of the Dog. We had How Many Lies that was coming out. They were throwing singles at radio, trying to see was anything going to happen. Grunge was just hitting too hard, and nobody was giving a crap. And the big song that got us signed was Just Another Night. We never even got a chance to put that up with a video or nothing. That was the reason we got signed, because it was Just Another Night. That was the hit. The ballad.
And there's so many. There's just so many things that you guys did on that that were great. I mean, it's you had the heavy, you had like the the Latin Sin that had that the really heavy kick, and, the ballads. It's really just like it's the perfect album for that era with a perfect mix. I mean, I could say so many good things about it.
You're right. We were fans. All of us were fans of that era, and when we were getting our shot to be on the same level as our heroes, I think we kind of made darn sure that we were going to make sure the record was perfect, and it had all the formulas. And I mean, it was all, like I've said before, all killer, no filler. And there's really not a song Under the Influence that you could say, yeah, man, that one sucks. I mean,
right.
there is that goofy thing called Drunken Man's Blues that's 45 seconds long. It's, Brent in the studio messing around and me with a cigarette wrapper and a microphone making like old record sounds. I mean, she was goofy.
Right.
That thing did need to be on there, but there's no real song on that record that you can say, that's a stinker. Get rid of it.
I agree.
Yeah. I agree. It's all good.
And when you went out with the the intention of supporting the album, what was the crowd reaction like at that time? Since it was like right on that borderline with the grunge and the how did we went out first with the Four Horsemen. We signed up with CAA, was one of the biggest talent agencies in the world. They handle some of the biggest actors, and we got this guys. Well, with CAA once again. Right.
They sent us out with the Four Horsemen in January of '92. In the dead of winter, we went straight to Montreal. What a great start! Jesus. But I mean, every time we'd do a tour, it started at Christmas, and it was always in Canada somewhere. It was so weird.
Right.
Anyways, we went with the Four Horsemen, and from the get-go, audiences were liking what they were hearing. We weren't getting booed. There was no tomatoes. There was no bottles being thrown.
Right.
A lot of times, we were, stealing the audience. We were gaining record buyers, and our numbers are going up in every city we went to. And we had a good time on the road. That was the only thing we ever wanted to do. I know earlier you said, what did you want to get out of this? And I said poontang, even though I was joking.
Right.
What we really wanted to do was tour. I didn't ever want to come off the road. That was what we wanted to do, was play live forever.
And it was
audiences they loved it.
And that the album, thinking about that is it's made to be played live. The songs are heavy, it's strong on all ends. I mean, I would have loved to have had a chance to see you live, without a doubt.
Yeah, '92 was the apex. That was at the height of it, and I mean, we loved playing live. I mean, I know for Drew, he loves singing live, but having to do that high, screechy Axl voice night after night, that was tough. That was tough to keep it going.
Right.
To do that broken glass to get that sound, that was tough. That was tough on him. That's for sure. But at his peak in 1992, Drew was killing it. You couldn't beat him. Couldn't beat the guy.
Oh yeah.
Now, when you look back at that, if you look back at that era too, Benny, what were some of the things other than the fact that you guys came out too late? Is there anything that you think, man, I would have loved to have changed it if I could go back?
Oh yeah, man. There's a million things that I would love to change. But more than anything, I think the most, to me personally, the most important thing I wish I could change is how our band ended.
Right.
And not being able to keep the brotherhood relationships with the other guys. Biggest regret I have. Wish it all could have been different. When this band ended, Brent Woods left a year after the record was released, in a couple of months, and it was just over. Like I said, never talked to the guy again. He changed his phone number, and that was it. Just like he disappeared in a UFO, gone.
Right.
Wow. All right, so me and Drew kept it going with Mark Simon on bass and Jimmy D on drums. We're a four-piece. Then we got another guy. We had Johnny Love from Love Hate. Remember Love Hate?
Right. Oh yeah.
Johnny jammed with us for a while, and then we quickly realized, not a good fit. So we got another guy from Graveyard Train, Jimmy D's buddy, Bruce Draper, and he's the guy that went with the grunge Wildside with Drew. But I ended up doing one show with the guys, and I quit in 1994, and I never saw them, never talked to any of them again. Just recently talked to Drew, but that was it. I wish it all could have ended differently, and all of us would have been a little bit more happy people.
Right.
I wish that could change, because none of us really talk. Drew and Brent, they still talk. I mean, Mark is a wine vintner, has his own wine label. Jimmy D is a realtor, and they all still live down in L.A. area, so they kind of talk and every so often do a gig now and again. I think Wildside has performed as a unit, as a four-piece, 5 times in 25 years. That's it.
Wow.
The band is definitely dead. Drew likes to resurrect it about every 5 or 6 years for 2 or 3 shows tops, and then it disappears again. I mean, Brent's not. I mean, Brent's in the band with Sebastian Bach. He subs in for all sorts of bands. I mean, Brent is a busy dude. He's playing for Three Dog Night. He's on guitar for Kristen Chenoweth, the country lady, or Broadway chick. He's all over the place, so he doesn't have time for Wildside. But yeah, I wish that it could have all been different with the guys and the ending of the band. And wish we could have all stayed friends and been friendly.
Right.
So that's my one thing I wish I could change.
Yeah, that's a shame to hear it end like that. To have the guys pull apart. Yeah, that really is.
I mean, one minute I was rocking the masses, just came off a tour. Within a week, I broke up with my stripper girlfriend. I quit the band and was living in a La Quinta Inn on a weekly rate in Huntington Beach, California.
Oh, man.
Wondering what just happened to me.
Right.
It was ridiculous.
Now, how about anything that you're doing right now? I mean, after you came out of the the Wildside, I know you're still, you still have the website and you're still doing the, talking to the fans and everything and supporting the the great album for so long. Is there anything that you're you're doing right music-wise that you want to get out?
I didn't stay in the business. After Wildside broke up, like everybody else in Hollywood, we never leave. We dwindle around Hollywood thinking, well, how can I recreate this fame and fortune in another way? So I thought I was going to be an actor.
Right.
So I was milling around, and I had a buddy, and we were working as background extras in movies. I mean, all sorts of movies.
Right.
If you ever, you can rent movies and go, wait a minute, is that Benny from Wildside in the background? There's one movie, Exit to Eden, with Rosie O'Donnell, Dan Aykroyd. Man, I'm in that movie like you wouldn't believe. Close-ups, crazy stuff. People have, over the years,
right.
Did I see you in Exit to Eden? Yes, you did. Or, did I see you on Melrose Place? Yeah, Did I see you on 90210? Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
I was in a lot. I was in a lot of stuff, but I got smart. I got into investment consulting, investment banking, and commercial real estate, and that got me out of Los Angeles at the end of the '90s. Finally, made my way away from Los Angeles to Las Vegas.
Right.
So I stayed there for 10 years and been back, and I'm just semi-retired now. And actually, I'm developing a guitar cabinet company. I really enjoy working with wood, and I'm a tone chaser and somebody that just has gear acquisition syndrome, and I love to mess with tone and try to get better tone, and I build cabinets, and
cool.
Right now I'm building stock for my company of cabinets, so and I have about 100 or 150 cabinets, and we're going to go live with it and start pushing those around. So yeah, that's my latest fun thing is the guitar cabinet company.
That's awesome.
It'll be up soon enough. Yeah, you'll see that online through all the Wildside news pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud. You'll see all that around. So, yeah, that's what I do now. The guys are still out there. Drew and Brent I think they did 2 shows last year at some bars for Wildside, and they kind of were okay. And
Right.
I was almost going to do it with the guys. I've been talking to Drew, and Drew and I finally had a phone conversation together, and it was really nice to talk to him, and we BS'd about the old days in Seattle when we were playing bars, underage, and,
Right.
doing Duran Duran and Billy Idol cover tunes.
Right.
But, yeah, it was good to talk to him, and I'm still friends with Mark Simon, the bass player. I talk to him all the time, but Brent came in and said, "Oh, no, I'm the only guitar player." Nope, nobody else, just me. He's been on his own too long, and I get it.
Right.
So he said, "I'm going to be the only guitar player. I'm not sharing the stage with anybody." So, okay. Well, have at it, man.
Right. That's a shame. It'd be great to see you guys get back together and start doing some shows again.
Yes. I agree with you. I mean, last year, if we had this conversation, I would have been like, absolutely. Fans want it, number one. They want to see the full band.
Right.
Right? The original band from 1992. And it's there, but the problem is, the ravages of time have occurred.
Right.
And some things just don't sound the same as they used to sound in 1992. And you can go on YouTube or whatever and hear the things that don't sound the same with the latest version of Wildside 2.0, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
It's just not the same.
Right. You guys...
There's no way you can make it the same. People get older, things change, sounds change, and it just, to me, I wish I could do it, man. But we're never gonna get there, unfortunately.
And you had something special, that moment in time is I get you. It's something that, it's hard to recreate, like you said, with everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, people get older, people get different.
Some guys can recreate it. Yeah, people get older. Some guys can recreate it. Some guys can't. But then again, let's look at the other side of of reality. Look at the guy in Firehouse, C.J. Snare.
Right.
Killing it.
Right.
Perfect. Sounds exact.
Exactly.
Look at Pete Loran from Trickster. Sounds pretty damn good.
I agree.
Out there doing Give It To Me Good and all the other hits. It sounds pretty darn good. So some guys can retain, and other guys things change, but you never know what you're going to get. I mean, it's ravages of time.
Right. And as for under the influence and what we're talking about here is, like I said before, it is a masterpiece in time that needs to be appreciated. And for what I'm going to say here, I just want to, all the people that have not had a chance to hear this album or have heard even parts of it, please go out and listen to it. Support these guys, even though it's, so many years later. It's still a great piece of music. It's a great piece of musical history. And it is something that influenced us back then. So if you really want to capture what the metal generation was like back in the heyday, listen to Under the Influence. That's an album that captures every little bit of what that time was like, and it is a classic. It's a fantastic album, and I can't recommend it, highly enough. It is so good. It really is.
Geez, I wish you were the A&R guy that signed us. Wouldn't have we been so successful if you were our A&R guy with a spiel like that? Oh my God, we would have been super 5 million sellers. Done. No, our guy that signed us, along with the president, was Tim Devine, and he's one of the most famous guys in the music business.
Yeah.
But even he couldn't pull off a hat trick with our record at that time in the musical climate. But you're right. It is a time capsule, and to me, I think of Wildside as an 80s band. When people say, well, you're not an 80s band. You were released in 92. Yeah, but we're all 80s, dude. We were on the Sunset Strip in the mid-80s.
Right.
We wrote those songs in the 80s. We wrote those songs on the Sunset Strip in 1988, and they didn't come out till 92, but
right.
Nah, we're an 80s band. We did 100% 80s.
I agree. Now, how about
anyways,
how about anything in closing, Benny, that you want to get out there to the fans? That you think they need to hear, or somewhere they could be directed to this.
Well, I mean, it's Wildside News is what Wildside is now online. That's basically all there is. Wildside News. It's all my stuff. You can go to Facebook. You can go to Instagram.
Okay.
You can go to Twitter. You can go to SoundCloud, and it's all Wildside News. So Facebook.com, Wildside News. Instagram, Wildside News. It's all Wildside News. That's where you get the news for Wildside. That's all me. If you want to hear our songs, just go to SoundCloud. Put in Wildside News. All 15 songs that are the quintessential Wildside are right there in huge WAV files that sound better than the CD.
Right.
You don't have to pay $50 to buy it on eBay. You can get it right there on SoundCloud. Listen to it. It's free.
Right.
Go to SoundCloud, Wildside News, listen to the whole thing. And there's the Axl Rose song, Crash Diet, that didn't make the record that we got to record that Axl wouldn't let us release because it sounded probably too good.
Right.
It sounded better than Axl.
Right. Agreed. Definitely agree.
That was a cool song. We played it live, and it was supposed to be on Under the Influence, and we got it from a buddy of Axl's, this guy named Wes Arkeen, and he was like the silent sixth member or whatever of Guns N' Roses, and he was trying to sell all sorts of songs because he was an addict and he was trying to get money.
Right.
But he let us record it, and we did a really good job with it, and it sounded cool. We added a little musical arrangement at the end that made it kind of more pop-friendly, and it came out great, but Axl took one listen and said, yeah, no, Drew sounded killer on it. He sounded so much like Axl, but better. So I think that's what killed it. And Axl said, no fucking way.
Yeah, he's like,
you can't use it. Ooh.
There's nobody gonna outdo him. That's for sure. You're right.
And Drew was right there. I got to give it to Drew, man. You got to give it to that guy. In his prime, he was right on the same level as Axl. He had it.
He did.
He totally had it back then. He was a cross between Stephen Pearcy and Axl Rose back in 1988 through 93. You couldn't beat it. Drew had it. Exactly.
He did. He killed it. He definitely killed it.
But yeah, just go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, Wildside News. I'd love to have you find out everything that's going on. And I promote those guys. If they're going to do a show or something or go on one of those rock and roll books or Monsters of Rock, whatever, I put all their information up. Because, some people want to go see it no matter what it is.
Right.
If they, it's not the original band or whatnot. Brent's girlfriend on guitar, whatever, on the other side of the stage, they still want to go see it, and I promote all that for them because, I want them to do well.
Right.
I think I have a good time with it. Wish I was with them, but can't happen. But still on the outlet for their promotions. So.
Right. Hey, and while we have you on here, I was gonna ask you and invite you. We're working on a podcast. It's kind of in development right now, and I would love to have you on a live podcast if you'd be willing to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I do sporadic interviews. I'm kind of a rare interview. I got to be in the mood, and I got to like who I'm talking to. And just looking at all your stuff online and what you guys have done on YouTube, I really like your style and the guys that you interviewed and the type of questions and the fact that you're such real fans of the genre of the 80s and big rock and big guitars and amp stacks. And that's so lost in this world now. And to hear guys that still support that, and like I said, just gives me hope.
Right.
I really respect that. I respect that totally.
Well,
when you approached us about doing the anniversary and the interview and everything else, I was like, oh my God, yes, absolutely, we'll do this for you. That's why I said we'll do it earlier so we can get it all ready, and we'll have it set for the 5th, and we'll launch it on that day.
That's totally cool. Yeah, it's like, boom, the real 25th anniversary. I can't believe it's 25 freaking
when
years.
You said that, and you said, can we do it and launch it that day? I was like, yeah, absolutely, we got to do this. This is an honor for you that.
Yeah, I think it's a cool thing. I mean, I'm still shocked that it's 25 years ago. I mean, Anthony Johns has passed away. Our producer's gone, no longer with us.
Right.
You know, I mean, who else? One of our drummers that was in Young Guns before we got Jimmy B on drums, he died. I mean, and then Bruce Draper, the guitarist from the Grunge Wildside that Drew did without me and Brett, he's gone. So, I mean, people are dying. So weird.
Right. Yeah, see, you got to appreciate it while you got it, and this really is, I mean, for us, Benny, it is an honor. It's an honor because, you know, this is what we grew up with. We've been passionate about it for 30-some years. That's all we listen to. I mean, we review the new stuff. We work with the labels. We love the music, and we're passionate, and we really look at what you guys have done as art to us, and it's part of our lives. That's why we appreciate it so much, and we will back you no matter what you do.
That's like the greatest thing to hear, and it's so strange. It's so weird to hear you say that, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just when I was making that stuff and writing that stuff and being a crazy guy running around Hollywood and hanging out with Eddie Van Halen and recording these songs and wanting to be a rock star and be like Matthias Yabs from Scorpions or whatever.
Right.
That would have never crossed my mind that 25 years later I wouldn't be involved in the music business at all, and the music business would be basically dead.
Right.
And then I would just be doing an interview, that's going online. What's online?
Right.
Back then. What does that mean? Online? What does it mean? But, I mean, things have changed, and I know we're ending the interview, but I just want to ask you this.
Sure.
Is rock dead, yes or no?
I don't think it's ever going to be dead, and I think it's in the heart, and you know, people are still listening, and it seems like right now, and we tell all the guys, you know, that we've been interviewing, is we've been seeing a lot of young people at the shows. Like yesterday, I had a Shout at the Devil tour shirt on, and I was in a grocery store, and there's a 15-year-old girl or 15 or 16-year-old girl at the deli, and she looks right up at me, and she goes, "I love your shirt." And she goes, old school, she goes, "That's the best stuff." And hearing that come out of a 16-year-old, it's never dead. Never dead.
Right, that's good to hear. I mean, I find myself not listening. First of all, what is radio? Do they still have radio?
Right.
Are there radio stations now? This is what I say. I don't listen to anything new. I went back to all my old CDs years ago. I'm listening to Fair Warning, Women and Children First, Diver Down.
Right.
I'm listening to old Dio. I'm listening to Ted Nugent.
Right.
I mean, I'm pulling out all the stuff I grew up. Judas Priest. I mean, I'm even listening to like Turbo Lover and stuff like that. Going, God, this rocks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's great stuff. It's great. It's just.
I don't listen to anything new. Am I weird, or has this happened to other people too? That they went back in time to the music that they loved when they were kids that ruled.
Right. You're right. That's what they're doing. It's good to see it.
What is out now that you go, damn, that's just kick ass? What is it? What's out right now that's rock that you go, damn, these guys rule. This is killer.
I'll tell you. There's a few that stand out for me, and one of them's Crazy Licks out of Sweden. If you ever heard those guys.
Crazy Licks.
Yep.
That was a band on the Strip back in the day. It's not the same one.
Yeah, these guys are right out of the '80s. I mean, if you listen to any of their stuff, that'll be something that you would love. Those guys they're younger guys, just making it happen. Eclipse is another one.
Not Crazy Licks. What's the band that was on that Sebastian Bach, the reality show, Making the Band, and they love Sebastian Bach? They're a nice Santa Cruz.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, this is 1980s all over again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another one. Yes.
Another one. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, we met those guys when they were here last year on tour. Super nice guys too. Yes, they're definitely 80s. Yes, and their
records sound good. And why does everyone hate Nickelback?
I have no idea.
Do they just suck, or why does everyone hate Nickelback? I listen to the songs. I'm not a super fan of the band or anything, but I listen to these songs and I go, wow, these songs are so well crafted and so finely written. It's amazing.
Maybe they just look for somebody as a target. That could be. You never know. Yeah, I never thought they were bad either. I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but I mean,
you can listen to their songs and go, dang, that was a good song.
Right.
Yeah, they have a couple that, they're really good. Yeah.
They got a new album that's coming out, and I saw something on YouTube, and I listened to it, and I said, not bad.
Right.
Or maybe I'm just too, into Judas Priest still, or Van Halen. I don't care about anything.
That's it.
All that.
That's it.
So weird. All right.
That's good stuff,
man. Let me know if we've covered it all. If we got any other good questions that you got me on the line for. I think we've covered everything, and UTI. We've deciphered how it all went down.
I do have one way, to finish this off is when you if you say Under the Influence Wildside, what do you want to be the legacy of this album? I mean, what do you think that the legacy of Wildside and Under the Influence is in your mind?
Wow, good one. The legacy, well, for me, the legacy has always been, I got the cat crawling up on the Wildside. Isn't that funny that this cat just jumped up on a Wildside poster? And it's like, that poster's worth about $200. Get off there. Okay, anyway.
Right.
The legacy for the band, for me, it's always been about the music and people enjoying the music and not worrying about if we were a glam band or a hair band. Right. Oh, you guys are a hair band, right? Oh, 80s Hollywood, so you're a hair band? Oh, no, we're just a band that had long hair. And we wrote some good stuff.
Right.
We rocked. That's the legacy. We rocked, and that's all we wanted to do. And when people say, man, I love that record, UTI is so killer. And I love the people that don't really know the band at all. They know to say UTI. They already know that much just from being online.
Right.
Saying Under the Influence. Right. Yeah, UTI. I love that. But that's the legacy. Now, we wrote some good stuff. We hope people love it. And to have people still remember it to this day blows my mind.
Right.
Blows my mind. And I get messages from guys in Brazil. Hello, Benny. I mean, what?
Right.
I got fans in the Philippines that just got your CD. It's killer. I mean, in the Philippines. Right. We're in Cebu City, in deep Philippines. What?
Right.
And they love Wildside. What is going on? What is going on? Why is the band not touring Philippines right now?
Right. You never.
It's funny.
It's cool because it's
Russia. We get Russians. We got some guy in Russia that keeps releasing these fake releases. Young Guns. It's funny. And then he puts them on eBay for $100. I've talked to that guy, and he's a big fan of the band.
Right.
Of course, he's illegally releasing crazy CDs and doesn't care. But he's a huge fan of the band. And he's in deep Russia, like, I don't know, up at the top of the world. Siberia somewhere. Right. Cranking out CDs in his igloo, and he loves it. I love Hang On Lucy. Okay, good. Yes. Rock. It's funny, man. like I said, being a historian for this band for 20 years, and handling all the online stuff and just talking to the fans, it's fun. It's fun to hear the good stuff, even the bad stuff. You suck. I mean, those are always fun too.
Right.
You guys stunk. Your album stunk. You sucked on the Sunset Strip.
Oh man.
I love those guys too. I love those fans too.
Right.
Well, what did they listen to then?
Oh, who knows?
Yeah.
As time goes on, people get very possessive of their bands.
Right.
Trickster fans are Trickster fans. They hate everybody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
Firehouse fans are Warrant fans are Warrant fans. Sometimes don't like other guys. I love how Warrant had that record like in 2002 called Under the Influence. I couldn't believe that.
Right.
Yeah. That cover tunes, and we know those guys. We know Eric Turner and Joey, and they're great guys. Cool guys. I used to hang out with those guys all the time and party with them. I thought, well, that our album was called Under the Influence. That's funny.
Right. And speaking of them,
there's only about 47 Wildside bands now. Have you seen that? How many bands online are called Wildside? Bar bands,
I know.
crazy bands all around the world. There's like 50 Wildsides. It's like, the name is so trash.
Yeah, there's a million on there.
There's even a really big, 80s cover band in Michigan who are very popular over there, and they do really good 80s songs, and they love their 80s music, and they're called Wildside, and they do very well around the circuit in Michigan. I contacted them and said, hey, Wildside. And they said, fuck you. I said, oh, okay, sorry. Good luck in the bars.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, isn't it? There's only one Wildside in our minds.
Right. I feel the same way. I find it so weird when these guys pop up as Wildside. And then there's a lot of Motley Crue tributes called Wildside.
Right. That's another one.
Yeah.
You're right.
There's that angle. There's a whole bunch of those. So, Wildside, we picked another winner. Oh.
You know what though? You had it. It's it's a legacy. It's an iconic album. This album. What's cool about this album and this genre of music is the music has staying power.
Right.
And it really does. It's not like rap or grunge, and you can name a few grunge bands and you say, well, where are they now? They're not doing anything. Nobody's listening to it.
No.
But
no. The minute Kurt Cobain killed himself, it was over in 2 years. 2 years that shit was around.
Right.
And then it disappeared.
Right. It just doesn't have a lasting legacy. I mean, it doesn't have what Hendrix did in the 70s and the Beatles and bands like that. I mean, that's real music.
Staying power. That's it right there. You nailed it.
That's it. I think
completely. It keeps going. I wouldn't have thought in 1992 that this album, even though it's now no longer made and it's a rarity and a cult classic, that people would still be discovering it and going, "Wow, this is really cool." That's another part of the legacy. People
Right.
just discovering it today, saying, "Wow, this is really cool."
That's what I look at, and I even put it in some of my reviews. There's bands that I didn't know have been out for a while, and I'll get another one is Adrenaline Rush. They have a girl singer out of Sweden. Killer new album called Soul Survivor. I just reviewed it, for Frontiers Records today. I finished, and that's another one right there. I never heard the first album. Really good.
I saw that. I think I might have seen that review that you did. I'm not sure. Is it out yet?
The album
I thought I saw that.
Yeah, the review came out today. The album hit the 21st. It was released.
Oh.
So that's
Cool.
that's another one I recommend too. If you listen to a lot of the things that are coming out overseas,
Europe. You got to dig into Europe, and there's some cool stuff that's kind of retro that is coming out.
Right.
It's kind of going back to the big guitars and the screamers. You know what I mean? And the big choruses, the big anthems.
Right.
The good stuff. Right?
That is. That's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. So
all right, guys. Well, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure for everything, and I've totally enjoyed talking about this stuff. Some stuff, I never know how it's going to go, if I'm going to like talking about it, but you know what? The more time goes on, the more I'm proud of the whole thing. Completely proud of Wildside and everything we accomplished, and we did a lot, man. We did a lot. Didn't go exactly the way it should have gone, but it's still lasting. It's still there, and you can go online and read the story anytime you want, everywhere you go. Wildside this, Wildside that. You can still check it out. Wildside News.
We agree. I mean, any of the fans, like I said, that haven't heard that, that album and haven't, listened to the band at all, we highly recommend it. We've been listening to it for, 25 years on May 5th. And it's a celebration. I mean, it's a celebration of that genre, that music scene. And it is definitely one of the best ones to come out of there. And you guys, what you did, with that album and as a band, might not have been for a long period of time, but it's something that stays with, the true fans. I mean, the fans that really appreciate it, and we do, Benny. We really do. Thank you so much for what you've done.
Let's pretend that it's May 5th, because that's when this is coming out, and it'll be on YouTube. Happy anniversary, Wildside.